Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to some more World of Warcraft. So, making this video just because I like to keep you guys in the loop of what I'm doing on my character. And, this season I came back to the game and I wanted to focus on PvP because, it's something that I've always been interested in ever since I started the game, but I haven't been particularly great at. At arena, I've been always everyone's usually if you're a competent player, getting top damage every battleground, not a big deal. Um, but when it came to arena and like 2v2, 3v3, no, I was only like maybe like a 1500, 1600 player. But I really actually went out of my comfort zone this season, and I decided to play more threes, which I have not done any other season prior to this, which is a surprise. But I just, for whatever reason, didn't get into it. Just kind of give you guys a brief history. Basically got into the game Burning Crusade, did PvP, sucked ass. Wrath of Lich King hit. I pretty much exclusively just raided the entire expansion. And after that, Cataclysm hit. We leveled a lot of characters. We did some basic PvP, but nothing too crazy. So, Miss Pandaria, I largely didn't play this expansion until this season. So, getting into 3v3s was really fun. I learned a lot playing with my roommate Protox, who really helped me out. Taught me a lot about the game, and we're actually able to hit around 1850. Right now I'm sitting at 1840, which isn't that bad for my first season committing to 3v3. So I'm thinking that if I can get my skills down a little bit, maybe make some better focused macros, clean up my CC and my damage targets, I think I'll be able to do a little bit better, maybe even push it to 2k, which would be really fun. But I think for this season, I'm pretty much going to be done of playing arenas for the time being, and just kind of probably going to be focusing just on doing some random world PvP, and maybe just battlegrounds, just kind of hanging out until either the next expansion comes out, or I'm not overly too sure. So at the moment, I don't think I'll have enough time for you to level a character for you guys. I think that's just too much commitment. I got way too much stuff going on. We got the whole Daisy thing on the channel, which is something I've been focusing really heavily on because it's a new game. People are looking for content, and I've been able to provide a decent amount of it. So in terms of my gear, I'm completely Grievous, so it's been something that I've been aspiring to for quite some time. And we're also playing as marksman because I feel any other spec for the hunter class this season just isn't performing as well as the marksman class. And for PvP, I feel that is probably should be the case. So for PvE, yeah, BM survival, you can probably rock it and do all right. But for PvP, you definitely want to be in marksman because it's got the most sustained burst. You have a decent number of damage dealing abilities, you have a lot of control, and you're not completely dependent on your pet's damage, which is really nice. So for me anyway, this season I feel that marksman is definitely the best. So for people who play hunters and are looking for some help when it comes to statistics, how you're supposed to gem, reforge, and whatnot, I'm going to dive into some of the basics, just to kind of give you some share around the knowledge that I've acquired this season, because I feel that I've been set up particularly good. So base stats, you can see I got 29 crit there, but even if I pull up that wolf, which is my favorite pet to play right now is marksman, you get that additional 5% crit bonus, which is massive. And you can pop this, you can set it on automatic, or you can pop it with a keybind, but if you're in fights, your wolf should be howling all the time because you can howl all the time pretty much. So this has a 45-second cooldown, but it lasts a minute. So you can always have this 5% crit bonus. I honestly don't understand why they don't just have it static like the cats. But anyway, I recommend getting a wolf for basic damage. We have a couple other options here. I'll go into it. This is a really good one. A bird of the prey is doing really well right now because you get that disarm. So having that disarm is pretty powerful against rogues or warriors. Also, I know they nerfed it. I had a goat. The goat was hilariously awesome. I loved my goat. I just called him goat. He was just the goat, and he used to be able to reduce the casting speed, or increase the casting speed of healers and casters, and you could do it every 10 seconds. So, so it was pretty OP. So they nerfed it, and but it's still really fun. It's still fun. Alright, so let's get into some of the stats. I mean, the pets, honestly, if you're a marksman, damage, wolf, other pets, situational. Again, if you're going to be targeted a lot by rogues and warriors, and you're having if you're troubling, even DKs as well, because you can disarm them so they can't hit you to get them some health back. So if you disarm, general disarm is really powerful right now. So if you're looking for a control pet, I definitely recommend picking up a bird of the prey. If you're looking for damage, definitely go with the wolf. And if you guys are looking for good options there, just go to Wild Petopia. It's a great website. It will show you all the skins for all the pets and then where you can acquire them. And unless they're Cataclysm specific rares, which you can only really use on Beastmaster, you should be okay to just trap and tame. So let's get into the stats. I've been delaying this. Number one, I found this patch, it's much better to just stack agility. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be arguing with me on this, and that's great. Do whatever you feel is best. I don't care. I'm just telling you guys what I do. So definitely agility stack. One thing I can do is probably pick up that meta gem with the PvP power, but even still, I don't even know if it's worth it. So every single gem slot that I have is socketed agility, just because it's the most useful stat for marksman this patch. You can go agility crit where it's actually, you know, where you're able to go, but I even find that you get enough crit just from your base gear and reforging. So full stack agility on all of your gem slots, and then reforging into crit. And if you're full Grievous, this is going to be great. You'll have max hit rating, which is 3%. So that's fantastic. And then you can just reforge everything else into crits. So I always base everything around hit. So when you first start off, you're not going to have full Grievous. You're going to say, okay, what do I need to focus on first? What stat do I need to get up to soft cap? Hit is the best thing to look at first. In fact, you should be basing your entire gear set around how much hit chance you have, because if you don't have at least 3% hit, you're going to be missing scatter traps, you're going to be missing chimera shots, aim shots, sleeps, pretty much anything. And you don't want that to happen, because especially in an arena or something, whenever you're, you know, if let's say your warrior fears the healer and you want to get a nice scatter as soon as that fear is done, and you shoot your scatter and you're not hit capped, the scatter misses, you throw the trap down, the druid can easily evade the trap. So you just got to get that hit up. So take a look at your statistics. Go down to ranged. don't go in melee like I am, like a noob. Go down to ranged, and you should see this should be at least 3%. And your gear set is set up as a hunter. You're going to get way more hit than you want. So you got to be mindful of it. So whenever you're over 3%, you can reforge that extra hit into crit. So let's take a look at this. Right here we have mastery and expertise. This is my last piece that I need to reforge. In fact, let's go do that right now, because I want to get that done. And a couple other things. So let's go to the reforger, because I do have 3.4% hit, and I can probably get that down a little bit. So your stat priority is definitely going to be agility, crit, and then haste. You don't want mastery. Mastery is a little bit useless this patch. So let's throw the helmet in. Let's restore it, and let's actually get rid of some of this expertise, because expertise, mastery is even better than expertise here. So we'll get that crit percent. Let's take a look. So this has expertise, crit, and PvP power. So I took that expertise, turned it into haste, because this already has crit on it. We have Haste, Expertise, Haste, and PvP. So we can actually take some of this Expertise, and turn it into crit. So let's do that. We have crit, Haste, and PvP power. Perfect. We don't need to do anything there. We have crit, mastery, PvP power. So we reforge some of the mastery into Haste. We have hit, crit, and PvP power. And because we were over our hit chance, we reforged that extra hit into Haste. Not we, I did. So that's basically how it kind of works. We have hit, crit, PvP power on the gloves. So because we're over our haste or hit cap, definitely turn that into Haste. Crit, mastery, PvP power, turn that mastery into Haste. We have Haste, critical strike, so I'm just going to leave it because that's the 2 stats that I want instead of agility, so we're really good there. Again, Haste, crit, that's fine. We're going to keep it as is. We got crit, haste, and PvP power. Again, this is the ring that you're not going to touch. And then for the hit, mastery, PvP, I'm taking away some of the extra hit and turning it into crit. So that's basically the stat priority, guys. That's working really, really well for me. And damage is extremely high. If you're playing Battlegrounds, you should be able to crit people for 260, 270k with a nice Chimera shot. In Arena, obviously a little bit marginally less. In Arena, you can expect around 100 to even like 160k depending on their resilience level, but it's pretty strong. So if you guys are wondering how the whole reforging works, it's really easy to base it around hit and then move from there. Stat priorities are going to be in the description box for any new hunters that are unaware. Alright, let's take a look at glyphs. Now, again, guys, I've been super lazy with this, and I'm not the best hunter. I'm definitely a lazy hunter. So right now, I definitely want to pick up explosive trap. Explosive trap. This is a really good one. It no longer deals damage, but it knocks enemies back. This is very similar to that shaman ability that knocks everybody off at Eye of the Storm and a host of other things. So if you're playing Eye, definitely shoot an explosive trap into the middle of the storm. You'll be able to push a bunch of people off the edge. We have Spirit Bond, Glyph of Animal Bond. All healing done to you and your pet is increased by 10%. This works amazing with Spirit Bond. So you'll get 10% additional. So you'll actually get 3.1% total health every 2 seconds. Actually 3.3, which is awesome. Every little bit helps. We also have Solace. This is the most important glyph. If you don't have Solace, then you gotta get it, because without Solace, your scatter traps are going to get broken. And if you don't have this ability, you can break your CC chain in 3v3s, 2v2s, anything really. If you want to CC something, definitely get Glyph of Solace. It's going to make your life much easier. Glyph of Camouflage. This is okay if you're working with a comp where you definitely want to go stealth at the beginning of the game, or very quickly into the game. If you're playing with Druid Rogue or anything really, let's say we're playing KFC and my warrior wants to charge in and basically become the target before I actually get out of camouflage, that's going to give me an ability to actually cast aim shot while stealth to open up with some nice damage at the beginning of the game, or something, open up my rotation from a distance, or being able to line my opponents particularly easy. So that's why camouflage works for me. May not work for you, but there's a couple others. Just play around with them. Again, there's no perfect build. Just play the way you want to play and whatever works for you. If you're doing well, then keep going. If you need to adjust something because you're not performing very well, maybe take a look at some of these glyphs and see if you can work it into your play style. So some of these other abilities, they're usually not that important, but you definitely want Revive Pet because it's powerful. Reduces the pushback and from damaging attacks, casting Revive Pet. this is powerful against people who are killing the fuck out of your pet. If you're a BM and you don't have this, especially, you're going to have problems. So make sure you get this. Everything else is pretty much good. I have aspect of the cheetah. Sometimes I like to switch to cheetah because getting that additional 30% run speed can make the difference whenever you're kiting opponents. And if you do a really good job at aspect dancing, you should be able to do this particularly fine. So this is why I choose this option. And then fetch, just because I wanted my pet to loot enemy bodies, but it didn't really work out that way. This is pretty fun. Do whatever you really want to do. Let's see here with some other options. I think we're pretty much good. Alright, let's take a look at talents. So, talents. There's a lot of good choices here. For tier 1, you definitely want to go either narrow escape or post haste. Post haste is fun for battlegrounds. Narrow escape is a 100% must for arena. The reason why is because if you have a feral druid or a warrior or a DK or any melee class on your ass, this is going to give you a significant advantage because it's a snare. You basically get an additional spider snare that can affect all the opponents within 8 yards. So let's say a hunter casts Stampede and you're getting your ass whooped. You can cast Disengage and snare every single hunter pet for a temporary time, which could basically make or break the battle. So narrow escape, I use it in arena. I did use post haste in arena for a little bit because it's good for lining your opponents. You get 60% movement speed for 8 seconds, so it's still extremely powerful. But if you're getting your ass kicked by melee classes, you kind of have to go with narrow escape. Next tier, Binding Shot, Wyvern Sting, or Intimidation. This is interesting just because a lot of people prefer Binding Shot, where I see Wyvern Sting as the better option. The reason why I feel Wyvern Sting is a significantly better option is this is kind of like Scatter, where you need to bind shot in a certain range from the enemy, and that I've seen it fuck up so many times that I've actually just say, okay, it's not even worth it. I'm just going to go with the easy sleep, the 45-second sleep. So whenever you're going to be CCing, especially if you're responsible for control, and hunters usually are in most situations because we're really good at it, Scatter is really strong, having that additional sleep, especially if you're playing with buddies that actually don't have sleeps, diminishing returns, it's just another CC. This actually does diminish with your Scatter though, keep that in mind. But let me throw more situations where this is useful. You open up in an arena and you want, let's say you're playing at the lower level, because let's be honest, not everybody, including myself, is very good at arena. You want to open up and you want to get some guy to blow his trinket. This is so funny because for the majority of the threes that I played, at the beginning of the game, I would Wyvern Sting maybe one of the damage. Let's say we have Hunter, Warrior, Druid, and the Warrior will usually run in first, going after the Hunter, which is me. I pop a Wyvern Sting, puts him to sleep for 8 seconds, and then he's forced to decide what he wants to do. He can wait that 8 seconds while I and my teammates own the shit out of their healer or their other DPS, because we'll have complete control over the healer. We'll throw a sleep on the healer and then into a scatter trap. That gives us so much time to really control the field. So most cases, whenever you're going to sting on somebody, especially if they're not that good at the game, they'll just pop their trinket right away. So at the beginning of the game, you get somebody to pop their trinket, and then in 45 seconds you can sleep them again, and they can't do anything. So the way I play the game, I prefer Wyvern Sting 100% of the time, and I just don't usually use Binding Shot. Do whatever you want to do, but I prefer Wyvern Sting. So it's fun. There's a lot of things that you can use with it, so I prefer it. it's also instant. You just like cast it on somebody, so you just put them to sleep instantly, which is really good. In the third rank, third tier level of talents, you definitely want to go Spirit Bond. Don't go anything else for PvP. This heal is extremely powerful. It will save your ass in a lot of situations. If you're lining your enemies, if it's a 2v2, your friendly is down, they killed him, both their opponents are around half health, you are extremely low health and you need to get some back, you're lining your opponents, Spirit Bond will help you out and potentially push your health up to the point where you can take out your opponents. So I would always go with it if you're PvPing, because you're going to have that additional heal. And that goes well with the Glyph I was talking about earlier, Animal Bond. So I use Spirit Bond. Next, we also have the fourth tier of talents. We got Fervor, Dire Beasts, or Thrill of the Hunt. This one I'm mixed, because there's been so many times where I'm just thinking about saying F it and going with Fervor. The reason why is because when you're a marksman, you definitely want to be using Steady Shot way more than Arcane Shot. And what I find with this talent is sometimes in situations I get a little bit crazy with the Arcane Shots because they're so cheap with this talent that I actually end up not doing as much damage as I could have if I popped a couple Steady Shots and then got an instant aim shot. So, which, it's kind of like a mixed feeling. So you have a 30% chance of gaining a reduced cost of Arcane Shots by a significant amount, by 20. So whenever your Arcane Shot costs 10 focus, and you can cast as many as you want, it's definitely going to make you feel like you want to use that to your advantage. But in reality, Steady Shot is probably your better choice. So in this situation, it's great to have those really cheap Arcane Shots. There's been a lot of situations where it's been useful, but honestly, I think this is going to be the better choice. It's got a 30-second cooldown to give you instantly 50 focus. If you're DPSing down your opponents and you get to that point where they're around 20% HP, you probably already casted your Chimera. You probably already shot off an instant aim shot. You probably already did your glaive toss. Your focus is probably a little bit lower than what it should be to get the kill. So in this situation, I'd have Thrill the Hunt. So I'd be able to shoot a couple Arcane Shots because that's all I'd be able to do. It's kind of a toss. So if you're new at the Hunter class, I think Thrill the Hunt is a bit better because it will give you more options, more damage dealing abilities, so you don't have to cast Steady Shot, and you can just mash your Arcane Shot keys and whenever you want to deal some damage for really cheap focus. But I think at the higher level you definitely want Fervor for most situations, just so you can get that additional focus whenever you need it. Next is Murder of Crows, Blink Strikes, and Link Rush from Marksman. I find Blink Strikes is useful because your pet can actually use their basic attack from a distance and instantly teleport them to the target. So although your pet doesn't do an amazing amount of damage, you'd be surprised on how useful this actually is. Murder of Crows is very, very powerful though, and I would almost feel that in general, it's a better DPS option. It costs a lot of focus. So if you have Murder of Crows, you're probably going to need Fervor. Probably use them in combination almost whenever somebody is getting pretty low. But yeah, Blink Strikes is good. It's an all-around great ability. Your pet can get in there, do some damage really quickly. And this is good for the bird because you can teleport your bird directly to a warrior and then disarm them. So that's why I use it, because it gets my pet in there and then I can use the pet ability against somebody who is going to potentially kick my ass. Alright, and the final talent we have Glaive Toss, Power Shots, and Barrage. Okay. Again, this is going to be something that probably people are going to be debating with me about, which is cool. But a Glaive Toss, 100%. Go for it. I think that Glaive Toss is so crucial to your marksman damage rotation that taking Power Shots is just a waste of time. Power Shots does an insane amount of damage, but you already have Chimera Shot and Aim Shot. So you can get another beefy damage dealing ability if you like with a 45-second cooldown. Or you can get an instant cast 15-second cooldown, 15 focus Glaive Toss, which is pretty crucial to your damage rotation. You do Chimera Shot, pop a couple steady shots, throw out a Glaive Toss, pop out another Chimera Shot, do a couple steady shots, maybe throw an instant aim shot, go back to the Glaive Toss, go back to the Chimera. So it really makes your rotation extremely smooth, and I love it. I think it's great. So this is basically how I play the game, guys. So I hope you guys find this a bit useful. If you're interested in more Hunter PvP, definitely stick around to my channel. I'm going to be playing a lot of Battlegrounds and just kicking some serious ass, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. And again, for all the hardcore WoW fans on my channel, I'm doing my best to get you guys some content. Again, be reasonable, because DayZ's out. It just came out. WoW's been out for, what is it now? Like, it's almost been 10 years. It's going to be 10 years this year that WoW's been out. So DayZ's only been out for 2 months. There's a lot of content to cover, and people are liking my channel for it. I'm growing really quickly because of that game, and I'm going to be focusing a lot of my time on it. But every now and again, I'll jump in, do a battleground for you guys, and then share the results. So anyways, guys, happy hunting, and if you have any questions, let me know in the description box. Cheers.